everyone, my name is Bilikis. You're welcome to a brand new tutorial. Today's tutorial will be on how to make an airline dress with a flutter sleeve, and trust me, it is so nice and easy to make. Yes. Firstly, if you are new to this channel, make sure you subscribe by hitting on the red button right down there and then tap on the notification bell. Follow me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures, our Facebook page. He is Sewing Innovations. Make sure you search for it and join. Let's go over to the work table. Firstly, you need about 2 meters or 2.5 yards for this dress because of the fluttered sleeve. So all you have to do is this. I folded the fabric this way, then fold again. So to get the amount of fabric, just make sure you divide your hip circumference by 4 and add about 5 to 6 inches to it. So mine is 11, so I have extra 5 inches, which is okay. Then for the length of my dress, I want it to be 43 inches. So here I have 43 inches. This is the baseline, and here I have 43 inches. So I will just leave this selvage to fold it in. Going over the vertical measurements now. This is half of my armhole line, which is the chest line. If you don't know how to take accurate body measurement, I've made a detailed video on that, but I will try to put the link in the description box below. So half of my armhole is 8.5. Can you see that? Then I will go over to my waist, which is 16.5. The next thing will be my hip measurement, that is the vertical measurement, which is 24 inches. Then the hem of the dress, which is 43 inches. So the next thing now is this. Firstly, I will just insert all my horizontal measurement, starting with the bust measurement, which I will insert on the chest line. Quarter of my bust measurement is 10.5 inches. But if in case you want his to his, you can just add extra half an inch to it. But you can leave it at whatever you have. So I will make it, let me just make it 11 inches. That means I added half. You could extend it and make it 1 inch depending on what you want. So I have 11 inches here, then 1.5 inch for the hemming allowance, for the seam allowance. So right now I'll go over to my waist measurement. Quarter of my waist measurement is 9 inches, but I want it to be a little bit free. So what I'll just do is to make it 9.5 or 9.75. So that totally depends on what you want, or better still, you can make it 10 inches. So let me just make it 10 inches. And in case you want it to be free, you just ignore your waist measurement, then you have to connect to the hip. But I want it to be fitted, so I'm making it 10 inches instead of 9. Then extra 1 inch. You see that? Over to the hip. Quarter of my hip measurement is 11 inches, but I will just make it 11.5 or 12. Let me just make it 12. So what I have here, an extra 1 inch for this. Before I move over to the lower part, let me just connect this. The next thing will be the hip cuff. Haven't done that. For the lower part, since it's a short A-line dress, what I will do is I will add 3 inches or 4 inches to whatever my hip measurement is. Like my hip measurement is 11 inches. I can add minimum of 3 inches to it or 4 inches. But if you are making a long A-line dress, just make sure you add minimum of 5 to 6 inches to it. So now, since I said my hip measurement, quarter of my hip measurement is 11 inches. So what I will do is to add minimum of 3. 1, 2, 3. That will make it 14, but I can make it 15 to divide 1. Totally depends on your preference. An extra 1 inch for the hemming allowance. And I will connect with my ruler. The next thing now is to come up by 2 inches or 1.5. The reason for this is to give it a circular effect. You don't want it to be the hip cup will the hip curve will give you the perfect shape. Can you see that? So we came up by 1.5 or 2 inches. It depends on you. So going over to the armhole area, what I have to do now is this. Half of my shoulder measurement is 8.5, but we always go with the 3 inches 8 inches standard. This is to determine the slope, the shoulder slope, because the human shoulder is in straight. So the 3 inches 8 inches standard, you should be familiar with that by now. The next thing is to come down by 1 inch here, 1 inch, connect with my ruler. The next thing now is to insert my shoulder measurement. Half of my shoulder measurement is 8.5. So if yours is 7, you have to move forward, but mine is more than the 3 inches 8 inches standard. So this is 8.5. Coming over to the chest line, 8.5 inches. And I will draw a straight line. Now I have to get the midpoint here. Now for the midpoint, which is 3 inches and 3/4, for the front armhole, I'll go in by 3/4 inch. Take my armhole first. The tools are still available in case you are interested. The armhole curve, hip curve, and then the pan curve. This is for the front armhole, and this is for the back armhole. You see that? Not forgetting to have the same allowance for the shoulder here after taking in our neck width and depth. So for my neck depth now, I'll just make it 5 inches would have been okay. 5 inches. For the width, I'll make it 4.5. So 3 inches is here, the remaining 1.5 will be here. So 4.5. So I have to go this way. You see that? So before I connect that, you can decide to have a V-neck, a round neck. That totally depends on you. So that's my neckline. So for the back neckline, I'll just come down by 1 inch. Take my armhole curve and do this. For the shoulder seam allowance, just add ½ inch here. ½ inch here. This is what I'll use to join the two shoulders together. This is what I have. Then I can cut out. Cutting both the front and the back together. Because we are cutting both the front and the back together, we have to cut the back neck first and the back armhole first. What it looks like. Inline dress is formed. I'll have to remove this back panel, then deal with the front. Then the front armhole. This is for the front panel and this is for the back. You see that? So let's go over to cut out the flutter sleeve. For the flutter sleeve now, all you have to do is to fold your fabric in a diagonal form, that like from bias says. So I just trim off this selvage and fold it over. So this will now be a straight line. Here will be a straight line. So what I will do now is half of my armhole is 8.5 inches. If you know how to draft a basic sleeve, you should know all this. Half of my armhole is 8.5 inches. I will need 1 inch for sewing allowance, like I left on the main fabric. So that will make it 9.5. And in case to avoid shortage and all that, you could just add extra 1/4 inch to that to make it 9 3/4. That depends on you. So what I'll do now, I said this is a straight line. Since I have 9.5, I'll just make sure I measure 9.5 this way. Let's see that. Then I'll take my ruler. Do that. This is what I have. Let's go over it again. So 9.5, it's okay. My cap's height. If you want to know how to calculate your cap's height, check out my video on how to make a basic sleeve. My cap's height is 4 inches. So from this line, just measure the 4 inches or 3.5 inches or whatever yours is. Measure it upward. So mine is 4 inches, which is here. Then from this point, I'll just connect to this point. This is what I have. Then I'll get the midpoint of this point. So here I have almost 3.5. Half of that is here. So then I will go up by 1/2 inch. Then I'll take my armhole curve. With your straight ruler, you connect from these points down to this edge. This is what I have. Armhole curve. For the front armhole, because you will notice on the main fabric it is deeper, the front is deeper than that of the back. Then I would turn it this way. From these points, I will connect down to these points. So we are done with the front and back armhole. Then the length of my sleeve, I want it to be, with hemming allowance, I want it to be 15. You could make it shorter, you can make it longer, it totally depends on you. So I want it to be 15. So 15 is here. Then from this point, keep rotating. 15 inches. So you will need 2 of this. So just the same way we are folded for this, that is how you fold for the second one. Or simply place this as a pattern for the other sleeve. So I'll have to cut the back armhole first. Notch this part. Open it up. So now I will have to cut the front armhole. Be careful when you are cutting it off. Let me see how the flutter sleeve looks like. Let me see that. So this is from the front, this is for the back. This is how it will look like. So you attach it to the main bodice this way, then you have it this way. The second sleeve, I'll just fold this way because I want to cut off the selvage. This is what it looks like. Then place this and this. Make sure it's at the edge. You see it's matching, then I will cut it off. These are the 2 sleeves. So I want to add pockets to it. So I have this leftover fabric. And I'll fold this way. I'll just open out this side because I need 4. But making sure the right side are facing each other. because for two they have to be facing each other. And I will place my hand this way. You see that? My pockets. So this is for one side, this is for one side, and you can see the wrong sides are facing each other. Now let's go over to the sewing part. So for the sewing, this is for the front and back. You have to turn it to the wrong side. This is the wrong side, the wrong side. Take two, the sewing machine. Then remember we left half an inch. I will sew half an inch here, half an inch. Then finish up the neckline with the bias strip. I decided to finish the neckline with a facing. Can you see that? So on the right side, this is what it looks like. You can finish it up with a bias strip. It depends on you. The next thing now is to attach the sleeves. This is the sleeve. So this is the front panel and this is for the back. So this is the front. That means I will have to use the other sleeve for this because this is the front. This will be for this part. So make sure the midpoint matches and then I will have to sew it up. The sleeve has been added to the dress. So let me show you how it looks. So what I did was that I took it to the serger. Can you see that? From one point to another. I took it to the serger and then just finish up the raw edge and then folded it in like this. Can you see that? So it will give it a perfect finishing. The next thing now is to add my pockets to my dress. For the pockets now, what I will do is this. From my waist, just come down from your waist to 5 inches or 4 inches or 6 inches from your waist. You go down towards your hips. So this is my waist is compared to other people's waist. I am shorter up here, so I would use the maximum of 6 inches. But if your waist is on the average like 17, 18, like normal waist, you can just make use of 5 inches after your waist. So from my waist now, 6 inches is here. So my pocket will have to start from here. So what I will do is this. The right side has to be facing the right side, and then the head has to be towards the lower part. This is what I will have. Can you see this? Now I'll take to the sewing machine and just sew this up because the pocket will be has to be on the right side towards the inside. Then this also will be this way. So I'll take to the sewing machine and do this for this and this. Now the pocket has been attached. Can you see how it looks like? So now I will have to turn it to the wrong side. So this is what it looks like on the wrong side. And I will start sewing the seam allowance I left, starting from the sleeves. So the 1 inch will have to go this way. But remember, when you get to the pocket area, I've made series of videos on how to do this. So after sewing 1 inch from this sleeve down this way, when you get to the pocket area, once you match it up this way, you have to cross from here. Just cross this way. And you see, just go this way. You do not sew straight down because that means you have to close the pocket. So from here, just turn this way and then come back here and straight down. Now this is what it looks like after sewing from the sleeve, the pockets, and to the hem of the dress. Now I'll have to turn it to the right side. This is the right side. I'll have to turn it this way. This is the pocket. Can you see that? Then I used a serger to finish up the hem. So what I will do now is to just fold 1 inch in, give it a good press, and then show you how it looks. This is the result of the dress we just made. Can you see? So nice, so lovely, easy and beautiful. Make sure you make yours and share with us on our Facebook group Sewing Innovation. Make sure you subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Bilikis.